All right, we're continuing in the last pace of chemistry, 1132. I'm going to just talk briefly about pages 11 through 20. This section talks about the types of proteins, nucleic acids that are in the nucleus of every cell in living things. All right. So, of course, the human body, but also in plants and animals and all living things have, you've probably heard of DNA. All right, and then there's such thing as RNA. You probably are going to have to know what those codes mean, what the words are. This is an abbreviation for something ribonucleic acid, I think it is. There's transfer and there's messenger RNA. All of this is kind of confusing when you just read it in the pace. I'm telling you, your mind kind of goes, ah! But I watched a video several years ago that really animated this and helped me understand it for the very first time, even as a teacher. It used to really confuse me. So I'm going to look for that video. I hope it's on YouTube or online. If not, I know the company that makes it and I can post, I'm sure I can find a way. Anyways, I'm going to post that on the page. So if you go to pacesuccess.net and look for this page, Chemistry 1132, look for a link of the animation of what's happening inside the nucleus when it makes copies of the DNA strands, okay? And it unzips, and then these nucleotides come in and make messengers. It's almost like blueprints, making blueprints, and then they can go out and make copies of whatever they need from those master blueprints. Now, I'm going to warn you about page L. That looks pretty intimidating. There's a long page of like 20 items, and they're in a random order, and you're supposed to number them to get them into the right order. So do your best on that. Do it lightly in pencil. Maybe after you do the first 6 or 8, go up and check the score key and make sure you're on the right track rather than doing all 20 and then having to erase it. And this is an encouraging note, you do not have to do this on the checkup or the self-test or the PACE test. Okay, so that's good to know. In fact, this would be a good time to take a quick peek at the checkup. Go to page O and P. So again, we have lots of terms being matched up to definitions. There are a few fill in the blanks, not too bad. Then we do have these adenine, cytosine, guanine, thymine, uracil, and you're supposed to match that up to these complementary bases. They want you to know this for the checkup, but I don't think I saw that on the self-test. I could be wrong, but I don't think I saw that on the self-test or the PACE test. So you're really just cramming to get this on the checkup. It's not something you need to know for life, okay? And they do take a shortened version of page L, not that whole thing, but a shortened version in kind of a synopsis of the steps. And there's only, 8 of them in that. So that shouldn't be too bad. I would definitely study this before you just say, I'm ready to do the checkup. Make sure you know it, check it against the score key, make sure you're on the right track. Same with the steps at the bottom of the page. But again, you're not going to have to do those steps on the self-test or the PACE test. Let me open it up here to the PACE test and just make sure. Yep, I'm looking at the PACE test right now. See, you can't see it. Nope, no listing the steps. Yay! Last thing I want to just casually mention, the year that I am recording this video has been the big COVID-19 year, okay? So the COVID virus that was spreading around the world and causing a lot of sickness. There's actually been a lot of theories thrown around that maybe it was created in a lab in a country that shall not be named. And we do know that they and U.S. scientists were studying with those scientists to try to see, can we take parts of DNA from animals and parts of DNA and viruses from humans, and can we blend them together and create something that won't just die, but will actually reproduce and become a trigger to cause humans to make more? And I think they were successful. And whether it was intentional or unintentional, some of these genetically modified viruses have gotten out and spread quickly through the world. And so it makes me curious to know what else they're studying and what they're doing. The PACE presents the idea that maybe they're studying some positive things that will help. And there's some things that help plants. Of course, there's controversy about that too. They call it GMOs, genetically modified organisms, and maybe some of the plants that have been, the genes have been messed around with, maybe they're actually causing health issues to people when they eat them. So that might be an area that you already have explored, or maybe in the future you would like to explore GMOs, but that all relates to this PACE. And so this kind of introduces the science behind that topic. So that's a hot topic, and you might find it interesting. There's some documentaries on Netflix that you can watch about GMOs. I'm not promoting them. I don't know a lot about those myself, but I do know there's a lot more sicknesses and health problems that people are having today than even 30, 40, 50 years ago. And one of the big changes in the meantime has been a lot more genetically modified things. So, be interesting to perhaps think about that, study it a little bit. I'm going to stop there. This section, again, is going to be challenging. I'm going to try to find some other videos to link on the PACE Success page to help you visualize and hear. Wow, there's so many terms in here that your eyes just kind of glaze over. They all look the same and it's confusing. But if you see a video with an animation and they're using terminology, maybe it'll help you to understand it better and to do well, all right, on this next section and the checkup, which comes after reading these pages on pages O and P. All right, I'm going to come back and do one video for the last section about nuclear science, and then we'll be done with PACE 1132 and the whole course.